Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us here. It's quite endearing to see this large audience for a topic like trailer safety. This really emphasizes how much we also are thinking about this as a topic. Uh, at the outset, I'll just set a very short context of the topic that we're dealing with. Uh, as the trucking industry, we move about 70% of the country's cargo, about 4.6 billion tons per year, right? But at what cost? I mean, when we do that, if we look at MOT statistics of the overall accidents that happen in the country, about 20% or so come from the trucking sector, and that essentially translates to about 17 odd thousand deaths every year. Now, why I'm saying this is when we look at trailers as a segment, in the last 5 to 6 years, its role in the trucking industry has evolved quite drastically. A sector which was possibly about 10-15% of the overall TIV in the IMNHCV space has now started contributing to about 25 to 30% in terms of volumes. And in a way, we are moving more cargo through articulated vehicles than ever in this nation's history. So that brings us to a question that the prime mover is fine, but what about the trailer, right? And hence this topic of trailer safety, where not just the compliance part, but the idea is to look at how we can move it towards a competitive advantage of sorts. So to open this, I would first like to hear from the transporters on the house. So Chirag, you not only represent the fleet from an individual perspective, but you're also the secretary for the Maharashtra chapter of AIMTC. So you have a larger view of the overall trucking industry as well. So as a fleet owner or as a representative for the trucking industry, when we talk about safety as an element, how is it being seen more from a market perspective to open with? Are we seeing safety being considered in the contracting part or in the business discussions itself, or is it still a cost plus discussion that opens the entire story to start with?
Uh, Good afternoon. First of all, thank you, Mihir thank you, Rohit, and thank you, CVF, for giving this platform and also acknowledging the truckers, because very few people really value the truckers, and it's a pride for us that somebody here is talking about the safety. That means our drivers are being heard now. Now drivers are considered as the important part. So the people over here, so every visible and tangible thing needs a transport. But who is driving the transport? Who is driving the truck? Other truck drivers. So coming to the point that safety, yes, it's a trending now. But a few years ago, nobody used to care about the safety. But now safety is a very important aspect. And even OEMs are worried about that. Even transporters are. Now, voluntarily, we are also looking after the truck drivers, because as a number of drivers have decreased. Today on every 1,000 truck, we have 600 drivers. And day by day, number is declining. So definitely safety plays a very important role, and we have to protect them. And if drivers are safe, see before how it was, again, transport industry is a very cost sensitive market, because we hardly have a margin of 2 to 4%. And before, we always used to think about the cost, ke kharcha nahi badhana hai, because technology comes with a cost. But now even we are aware that the transporter is earning out of turnaround time. जहाँ पे turnaround time हमारा less होगा, वहाँ पे profit margin आएगा. So now the trend has changed, and safety has become the primary subject for the industry. So safety is very important, and I think whole industry is moving towards it.
Thank you, Chirag. I think that's a very good point that you touched about on the turnaround time as well, how it reflects as a byproduct of safety, right? And when I think of that, possibly, who else but, Mr. Vijay, you have an organization which has a consistent record of, achieving 10,000, 12,000, or even more kilometers per month, right? By your novel approach, either in terms of alternate fuel or in terms of the logistics design itself. So, with that in mind, when I look at the trailer system particularly, looking at reliability as an extension of safety for this, high mileage, how are you seeing that being looked at from a trailer manufacturer's perspective? Especially so, considering that a fair point of it still remains unorganized in terms of the market structure.
Good afternoon. Thank you. Adding to him, thanks actually. I think after a long time, I'm in a forum where we are talking about trailer, and we want this to continue so that we are talking about trailer and trailer safety. Yes, we take two parameters on your question. One is actually, yes, there is an premium on the product. We have to add a lot of component to have the safety of the vehicle as well as to have adherence of the standard. But how to take this money back? It is not possible to take the money back only by doing the normal running. So we want our vehicle to do an extra mileage. So for doing an extra mileage, what are the things we can do is one, we have our vehicle which is always running on 10,000 plus kilometers, 10,000 plus kilometers by reducing our on-road support. So we are having a preventive maintenance on our vehicle with an add-on products like we have a telematics, we have a TPMS on the vehicle. So this help us to know what is the vehicle is happening, and my downtime of the trailer is very, very less compared to the conventional trailer. So this gives me a turnaround time increase. That is number one. Number two, in most of the segments, what we are doing is we are having an tow in tow out. So we have an additional trailer on all our area where we don't have a waiting time on our loading and unloading. We are trying to reduce that wherever it is possible. In some of the areas, we are my tractor is completely running. It did not wait. It comes, it leave the vehicle which is empty, pick up the loaded vehicle and it move on. So by doing this too, we are able to increase our mileage. And a total fleet of 1,000 vehicle, the customer Green Line, they are able to achieve an average of 10,000 kilometers and exceptional of some vehicle which is doing even 15,000 kilometers. So by doing this, we are getting back our additional cost we are spending on this add-ons or safety features. Less than 6 months is my ROI. So that helps us to do this.
I think that quite correctly mirrors the topic that we have for the discussion, that is from compliance to competitive advantage, right? So that's actually a perfect example of that. If I have to look at it from a different lens of, say, a equipment manufacturer, Mr. Nagaraj, if I come to you, one part is, of course, having all of those, systems there. But when we look at it from your perspective as a, running gear leader, how does that, fit in terms of the manufacturing effort that goes into it and the cost part of it, especially considering that, at every point, as, I posed to Mr. Vijay also, you have to compete with a sector or a subsector, which is very labor intensive and unorganized at the other spectrum of this.
Yeah, you started well, Mihir. Thank you so much, and thanks for having me here. I think since from last couple of decades, we were waiting for such kind of forums to happen, right? So normally everybody is here from the community of a trailer, and trailer has never been a subject of a commercial vehicle as such, because always we call it as a fabrication or bodybuilding exercise. And thanks to CVF and thanks to ZF also for giving this opportunity to talk something on the technology of a trailer side. Believe me, as an industry, being into the industry from last few years, the shift which is coming, on the technology side, on the trailer is remarkable. I must tell you that nobody has recognized it, but on the safety side, when it comes to the safety side, of course, I should address first the driver because he's our leader here. That's we are come from the community of axle suspension technology provider for the trailers, right? So we were waiting for this change to happen. We are typically with the air suspension. I think after the passenger segment, which is took a place of air suspension overnight journey, made it possible for us. Now today, I think trailer is the second industry which is taking so much a big leap on adopting for the pneumatic suspension technology as such. I must say that even the trucks are not equipped with pneumatic suspension, but today most of the trailers are equipped with pneumatic suspensions, completely all three axles. So I feel happy when we deliver these engineering technologies trailers, because when I introduced personally with one of the driver, he said, "Sir, trailer में बिल्कुल झटके नहीं लगते." Number one, and he said, "आपने मेरी रीढ़ की हड्डी की लाइफ बढ़ा दी." This is what the statement he said. I must appreciate that because everybody is here, all the trailer manufacturers are adopting to these technologies, and this is the future, because today we don't find any driver would like to sit on the steering seat, and that's what the crisis we are facing today. And these comforts are really matters for our future generations to deal with, because we produce more engineers than the drivers today, and that's what the reality. Nobody can able to come out of this. That is from the safety aspect. Adaptation of technology on the trailer. On the second side, of course, government has given us a very good advantage for us, because on the axle norms when 2018, which has come,
it directly saves. The 40-tonner vehicle is already upgraded to 55-tonner. So this complete GVW advantage is going to the customer's revenue. So he's easy to adopt for these vehicles. He can able to go for the capital investment. That is economical benefit which we talked about. Second is on the, of course, the maintenance of the vehicle are absolutely reducing, because if you don't have vibrations, if you don't have much fatigue on the driver's side, so of course the commercial vehicle is always calculated on the per kilometer basis, right? So operating cost comes drastically reduced, and over time, turnaround time, because we today on the logistic, we want everything on our doorstep. Right, and if you place the order today, tomorrow something has to come to my doorstep, and that's what I think 3-4 times I will browse it on the Amazon or Flipkart to get the material where it is stacking up. This is what the life we are living with. I think the comfort and the turnaround time which really coming up, that is kudos go to the auto trailer manufacturers and the community which could able to bring this level of changes on their part. So we are happy with the development which is happening at presently, and yes, that's what we look it forward for the such kind of initiatives on their part.
Thank you, Nagaraj sir. I think building on your point of economics, right? A safety technology or any intervention per se can only be acceptable in an industry like trucking when it is also making economic sense. I mean, nobody is going to go out of their pocket and lose money on a particular trip to ensure that it's safety. I mean, they may do, or they may be okay with a lower margin per se, but I mean, it still needs to make economic sense. So, I mean, with that in mind, Vikas sir, if I can just come to you to understand, when you are looking at this phenomenon of all of the technology interventions that are coming in, or at least are being talked about, the acceptance is a different part. We'll come to that in some time, but at least when you are proposing to your customers, does that make some sense in the form of TCO, or the total cost of ownership, and the trip metrics as well, or is it still something which is only a conceptual thing where a few pilot cases of safety might happen, but economics is still something far away?
Yeah, good afternoon, and thanks for inviting me over here. And we are discussing about trailer. This is something good. And adding to Nagaraj's point also, our industry is going through a rapid phase of transformation right now, we can say. And it is no longer in the hands of unorganized player. We are playing our role, and industry is moving towards an organized sector. The pace is still very less, but we are organizing in our terms. Coming to the TCO point, I assume there are 3-point discussion on this. Whenever I goes for a TCO calculation, first point is getting the right capital investment of our customer. This is very important, and we plays a huge role in that. Likewise, we are having a dedicated R&D facilities. We are having a good design team over here. We can match our customer requirement. What is the actual requirement of customer and what best suits to its need. Trailer should be designed as per the application, what is needed. So in that way, proposing our customer what best suits to his needs, that is our first preference. Second, maintaining a good delivery TAT. Having an organized structure and a good infra support with you, you can always match a pace of your speed with a good quality itself. So we can have a wider perspective, a wider delivery quantities with our hands, so that the interest cost of our customers could be reduced to a much lower value. Third and most important is having uptime of our trailers. This is very important, and I assume every organized player here will agree that it has its cost. We are having a pan-India network of our service engineers. We are having good third-party relations with them, providing services to our customers. And motto is just to bring the uptime to the lowest. So these 3 things put together as a whole, I assume going towards an organized player definitely helps out and maintains a good TCO over there. So we are in a phase of transformation, and it will eventually grow from here.
Understood. So I think I'll build on your point on the uptime part, Vikas ji. So that's actually a direct derivative of how possibly investment in safety and reliability can actually help you improve profits, right? Now, but in order to achieve that, we need to ensure that breakdowns are as low as possible, right? And especially when it comes to trailers, given how the Indian market operates with the overloading and all the other phenomena happening, structural integrity becomes a very big, question. So with that in mind, Supreet ji, if I can come to you, given your background of, precision manufacturing these trailer systems or the chassis, how is it that, you are looking at this in contribution towards the both safety and commercial part when you look at the customer angle of it in terms of, reducing the downtime as a byproduct of your engineering led, tractor development, trailer development?
So, good afternoon, all. It's a right question. Yeah, it's a right question. Just we are focusing on the integrating the global engineering as well as the advanced technology also in our daily routine work. We started our journey from Bangalore plant and we have commissioned a new plant in Chennai, and it has gone up to the next level. Now we are using the robotics and advanced jigs and fixtures as well as the process which we have developed here. See, there is a simple philosophy that without a right tool or right technology or the right processes, a product cannot be developed and it will fail in the market also. So I just want to say that earlier these commercial vehicles as well as the trailers, which customers or the fleet owners used to think as a asset where they used to use and they used to resell it off. But now the customer mindset has totally changed. They are thinking as this is a investment where they want to go for the longer life and with a longevity. That is the thing which they are looking for. And here I just want to, before I conclude my statement, I just want to say one of my customers said that it's a statement that a trailer is purchased from the grandfather and still grandson is still using it. It seems that is a longevity. We don't only build the quality, we build the assets for the next generations also. That is where we're looking for, as we are the leaders in the market for more than 25 years.
Understood. So I think thank you, Supreet ji, for bringing in that perspective. Now on the downtime front, of course, structure is one part of it, but more from the day-to-day running perspective, the driveline becomes another important component. Be it in terms of the wheels or the all of those other components in terms of brakings, etc. as well. So therein, preventive maintenance also comes in as a important factor that one needs to consider. I mean, not just from a mechanical or a commercial perspective, but also from a safety perspective. And we have Mr. Suresh Patil here from York. You are one of the prominent manufacturers on the driveline side, sir. So in your perspective, the interventions that you are doing right now, either in terms of newer technologies or improving efficiency in the current manufacturing itself and reliability, how is that helping in further making the preventive maintenance more efficient or making the intervals more longer? What is it that is helping that can possibly work in the favor of both safety in terms of reliability and the cost economics for the trailer systems?
Yeah, good afternoon and thank you, Mr. Patil, for inviting, and thank you to CVF. You know that York is into the manufacturing of axles, suspensions. Actually, as a safety, we see only uncertainties and accident to prevent as a safety till now for driver or for trailer. But safety should have a broad perspective. Safety should be seen as a stopping uncertain news or uncertain things going on a trailer. It may be due to low pressure if your tire is getting more consumed. Then a fleet owner is getting that uncertain news that on this trailer, tire is getting more consumed. If due to tire burst or due to some other things, where a safety parameters comes, we know ZF and all are there into TPMS and all other things are there, which are slowly adapted by a trailer manufacturer, transporter, which are giving them certainty in their business. That when, means how much life will be there, whether my uptime will be, how much uptime will be there. See, in business, we need certainties. uncertainty will impact business. So we as a York, we also try to develop our product as from R&D perspective, that product should have a reliability for its life. Whatever we claim a life, it should have a reliability, and it should give a certainty to a transporter that whatever is given a commitment, they are fulfilling it. So this is one thing. There are a lot of more technologies, as Nagarajan sir also told, that for government is also coming up with extra payload for air suspension, which are helping in trailers, in impacts and driver health. So government is also taking step, infrastructures are developing. So in this way, I mean, just to conclude, that safety should be seen as the overall cost of the operating. So installing a safety components will definitely be a beneficial in long term.
Thank you, Sureshji. I think we started off with the transporters, came to the trailer manufacturers, now to the axle manufacturers. I think if I go one level deeper, beyond that as well, Jamil sir, if I can come to you, Sureshji is saying, in terms of the axle having a lot of technology built into it, either in the form of, say, a TPMS or a electronic braking or even other measures like that. From a component manufacturer's perspective, how are you looking at that? I mean, in terms of demand for that coming up, or is that a conversation that is being actively had when you are approaching customers, or customers are asking you for that?
Yeah, first of all, thanks. Good afternoon, all. And most of the people are actually covered what is required by the trailer. So far, we concentrate only on this car safety and truck safety and everything, but nobody's bothered on trailer. But the segment is growing. If you see this penetration of truck and trailer, it is shifting now. We are expecting this may grow with 8 to 10% in future. Currently, we are the 70,000 trailer in this India, but we are expecting that will go to 1,30,000, 40,000 in this future, because there's growth is going there because our infrastructures are increasing, for which we cannot depend on only on manual drivers and manual data to actually to track this the vehicle, because the fleet requires some visibility on this, what is there in the vehicle, what is the brake efficiency, what is this the driver what driver is doing, and how this tire pressure is, whether it is keeping, or these are all required to control the vehicle. Now everybody is working on to trailer compliance to the trailer efficiency, improving through these intelligent trailer programs. Because we as a ZF, we have the product we develop, which will take care actually to speak with this fleet by actually what is the health of the braking efficiency and the tire pressure, this one online, and also giving the connected vehicle, which we help you to give the data where the vehicle is located and what is the driver optimization, route optimization, which is all helping, because this will help you to transform the industry from manual dependence to digital software ready vehicles, I'm saying. The future actually, only with this software ready vehicles, because the direction is slowly moving towards the connected vehicles, but this movement is slowly slow, but we are expecting this will be shift entirely by coming years, considering this population of trailer is growing. So in this way, actually, this the safety connected vehicles will be playing major role in this industry.
Thank you, Jamilji. If I can just chip in to you, Mithunji, for an add-on view from ZF side on this. We see that there's, we see the safety features, the software-defined vehicle coming in, all of the ITMS, Intelligent Transport System, coming in. From a ROI standpoint, how does that work out? I mean, when you've been having conversations with your customers, or possibly their feedback from their own customers as well, how is it being viewed in the industry from a return on investment perspective with respect to these safety features?
Yeah, good afternoon. First of all, thank you. And on behalf of ZF, we welcome all for the CVF forum. And special thanks to CVF for bringing this topic, that too on trailer safety. Because in India, generally, we look safety as a compliance hurdle. So maybe after seeing the traffic police, we may wear the seatbelt. So that's the scenario now. But now it's changing, right? Because it's evident, like in past car, even before the ESC regulation, the penetration is quite high. And similarly, the government also perceive the importance of safety. That's where already ESCs for buses it's coming. And similarly for ADAS, they are implementing. Now coming to the trailer industry, I feel we are in the inflection point of adapting all these safety related technologies. Coming to your ROI point of view to your question, so first thing is, so all the fleet owners, they have to see all these safety related are something beyond compliance. It's not just the safety, because ZF we are working mainly on not only the safety, not the passive safety. Our focus, what are the products we are developing like TEBS, Pre-ABS and other systems in terms of lift axle or tail guard, all these things, it will work as we are just creating a kind of an ecosystem, right? So we are not like a component solution provider or something. So we are like creating an ecosystem. So here it's something beyond safety. That is the safety and efficiency. So as he rightly pointed out, we have to find out all the uncertainties. So that should be overcome. So all the fleet owners should be able to get the overall operational visibility, and they have to see maybe the fleet efficiencies or reduced downtime. So all those things should come into picture. So that's where what I feel is like, of course, the initially maybe the penetration or the baseline will start from the compliance and regulation. Over a period of time, when the fleet operators start to understand the ROI, the greater ROI, that will happen only when you see as a system, not as a single kind of standalone system or only the mechanical or something. So it should be as a system, it should work together. That's where we'll be in a position to get the better ROI in the trailer segment. So that's.
Thank you, Mithunji. I think that gives us a very good context to close our first round of discussion. What we see is, I mean, there are a lot of systems which we do already have in place, right? With respect to safety, either in the form of components being available or processes being there. Now, the question that comes is, with all of this being there, how does that translate into the actual on-ground implementation? And hence, possibly, we'll now go into the next topic, which is more on the future implementation and the forward-looking view. So, with that thought in mind, Vijay sir, if I can come to you. Now, we discussed that there are a lot of software-defined features. There is the TPMS, there is the TEBS, there is the regulation as well, the AS 140 and the AS 113. But when I look at it from an on-ground perspective, maybe from a near future perspective, how are you seeing that being deployed on the ground, either in the form of operators or drivers adopting to it, not adopting to it, or, how is the willingness that you see in the market for this?
See, I want to divide this into two answers. Okay,
yeah, sure.
One is, yes, it's not going to be accepted on upfront any technology which is going to cost. Okay, how I am going to explain, or I am going to tell my transporters or drivers how he is going to get benefited out what I am doing. For an example, when I am talking about fuel mileage, being a trailer manufacturer, can I contribute on a fuel mileage directly? Yes. Okay, the way is actually we are working today, my trailers, whatever we are designing or getting manufactured, our trailers are almost 800 to 1 ton less than the weight of what others are manufacturing. So we are able to carry 1 ton of extra payload. So it's directly costing per kilometer per ton mileage. So where I can contribute. But what a steel I am using is an expensive steel, I am going to spend money onto that. So what is the ROI of the steel I am going to use, and when I am going to get this back? So that education has to be given to the transporter. Similarly, when you are talking about tire pressure monitoring system, today we are working with tire pressure monitoring system, and we are using a radial tire. And with the help of a tire manufacturer, with JK we are using. So this, we are getting a turnaround in terms of, we are getting a better mileage of the tire, which is directly or indirectly contributing to us. So the cost what I am going to spend on the TPMS, what is my return, how I am going to get. So this has to be translated and communicated to the transporter. Similarly, when it comes on telematics, I am fitting all my vehicles with telematics. So my tractor has a telematics, it is going to help improving the tractor efficiency. How my trailer efficiency is going to get increased. I am having a telematics which is separately fitted on my trailers, which is working along with EBS, and it is getting all the data, and it is giving me the data, and we are also tweaked with an additional software where I am also able to get my periodical service maintenance trigger onto it. We have a software developed to that. So which gives me, when I have my vehicle has to go for a maintenance, when I have to do my tire monitoring, when I have to swap my tire, all these things have been getting an additional mileage onto this vehicle. So with this, actually, we are getting a direct benefit. We have to translate this direct benefit, and what is the ROI I am going to give to the end user. This is one part I wanted to tell on the acceptance. Second part of the acceptance, what I wanted to request or emphasize. See, today nobody talks about when an OE launches a truck, ABS hai kya? It is mandatory. But when it comes to the trailer, why I should use an ABS? The reason is two things. One, non-ABS is available. Okay, on tractor it is not available. There is no question asked. Here, availability is there. So as a team, we need to work on how we can eliminate the availability of unapproved items. I cannot use a kingpin which is not approved. I should not use a brake which is not approved. It is being used. We are forced to use it because it is available. So how can we stop this? As a community, we need to see together how we can stop this so that there is no question asked. There is a differentiation between the tractor and a trailer. It is a vehicle to work together. So we have a different standard for tractor and a different standard for trailer. Slowly we need to bridge this and bring to a level that as a combination, it has to work. And third, we also wanted to emphasize this to all my 1,000 vehicles are separate registered. It helps me to increase the usage of the vehicle. So yes, for everything we have to do a spend, and we are working on ROI, and we are trying to communicate to the transporter. It will take time. Acceptance will be tough, but it is possible, and we are here to do that.
Thank you, Vijay sir. Okay, I get your point with respect to these systems being mandated for the trailer ecosystem as well, and regulatory compliance coming in. Possibly, if we can go one level further into that, the type approval and regulatory approval is one part of it, but how do we ensure that is something which actually runs on the ground or runs on the road, right? So Nagaraj sir, I mean, I'll recall one conversation which we were just having about lift axles, right? So in a similar context, from your standpoint as a equipment manufacturer, there can be certain systems which, yes, will go into the type approval, possibly, if not today, maybe 3 years from now, 5 years from now, for trailers as well. But how does one ensure that that is something which will actually be used on the ground? Or, I mean, what are your major concerns on that front, if I may?
Yeah, I talked about in 2018, the government has decided to go with 20% axle load on the normal one, and after, if you wanted to have a pneumatic suspension or a air suspension so-called, so you will get a 1 ton extra. This benefit is definitely going to the customer. Now, how we organize this and implement on the ground level. So we typically, as a community, some issues that is, again, as he said, that we will be categorizing into two parts. One is the organized and unorganized sector, right? So now it is a very shortest time which we got in a lift for this technology upgradation. We did not had in a couple of decades, I must say. The phase which we are going through with the last 5 years is tremendously, and this is the evolution which is taking place in the HCV segment, right? So today, if you see, there is one 4x2 tractor which is 55 tonner. Nearly about 60 to 70% of the sale is related to the 55 tonner.
More, sir. In fact, 80-85% is 55.
Yeah, you know the numbers better. And that's really, it's only one tractor, 4x2 tractor and the 3 axles. It is done. And that's only the hot cake which is selling in the market, and multiple applications. Either you carry steel, cement, cargo, light goods. Again, now the light goods, when it comes to this segment, again, we have innovations altogether, so which India has never seen in the last couple of, I mean to say, like we are at par with the global standards. Like we have road trains which are running on the Samruddhi Mahamarg from Mumbai to Nagpur, Nagpur to Delhi, Delhi to now it has reached to the Gorakhpur also. So these are the things that are happening because it is because of only the trailer technology which is taking into place. But how to consolidate this? As you mentioned rightly, that consolidation should be very standardized properly, because today, example, I'll give the analogy of the mobile. We are investing something on the mobile and every time it gets upgraded. So that's what we have a fear, because today we have to build something on the basic level, that is a pneumatic suspensions. Tomorrow, believe me, this is going to, government is very clear on the perception side, that implementation side. By 1st of October, now I think there is a VLTD requirement. Most of the tractor people are already working on that. VLTD also gives on the interchangeability side, that also has to identify the trailer, which trailer is getting combination with which tractor. Government is very clear on the interchangeability side. This is the future and this is what the logistics is going to turn around, right? So implementation, we have to organize ourselves. There are malpractices are also happening in the market, because which is typically because unorganized sector is also something that part of our society, and they have to contribute their own way there. But how to ensure that the right technology reaching into their hands, and how to protect this with the right education and the knowledge where we can able to build up. Today, again, in the 2027, I think we also have a year, I think Yeah, ADAS also. So this is something unbelievable, like, and also we have onboard payment system which is under coming soon, which is from the government, which is coming up. Onboard payment system is government wants to track all your vehicles on the real-time basis. Can you imagine? We work on the commercial vehicle, but we could not able to give any information to the customer that what is the load it is carrying out today. You have to give a call to the driver. You have to ask him that whether the vehicle is loaded or unladen. So today, government is working something that way. Also, it helps the fleet owner also, that everything is in mobile, right? We wanted to go with the mobile, so everything is displayed here. So each pneumatic suspension can able to identify this digitally to quantify the load which is coming out. It is connected to the telematics, what ZF mentioned, and that telematics is communicating with your devices. And this is what we can serve Mr. Chirag in this regard. This is how the ecosystem has to build up. And if you have a right technology at the right time, so that we can upgrade at any time. So that's what the analogy I gave about having a software and upgrading it every time. So this is what the life which we are living with. That's what I must say.
Okay. Okay. So, Nagaraj sir, I get your point that I think all of this is something which will be on offer. Possibly, the government will also mandate that, right? But of course, the human element is something which we necessarily need to consider. And with that, I mean, I'll just want to come to you, Chirag. So, in the overall value chain of this, the whole transportation framework, when it comes to either, say, a tractor trailer or any other trucking system for that matter, the most pivotal linchpin that remains is the driver, right? He's the most important element in this. So, all of these technologies that we are talking about, be it either voluntarily or enforced by the government, if it's enforced by the government, then how do you think the policymaker should think about it so that it is more of an empowering measure for the drivers rather than something which constricts them or becomes more like a compliance and regulatory burden on them?
First, I'll add to Nagaraj sir's points that safety is no more a luxury now; it's a necessity. Safety and technology have become a necessity part. But coming to the government again, it's important to start, as we all have seen that there was a speed governor, which is like on the commercial vehicles. But we are actually a decade late than the world. So what technology we have right now? So if you see, AC cabins got mandatory last year, and I still don't know how mandatory it was. Also, we have already planned to bypass it. So somewhere I think government has to play a very important role when it comes to the awareness, because how much of a technology we put in our trucks, but if the ground people are not trained, there won't be a proper use of it, and again the technology will become a waste. And also we Indians have this habit of doing jugaad. So that's what is happening with the speed governor. The truck cannot cross the speed of 60, but you see on the highway they are speeding up, and so somewhere regulations have to be very strict. And see, driver is the most important part. As I said earlier also, that every tangible, visible thing needs a transport. But who's transporting is a truck driver. So a lot of awareness programs, and also regarding the safety, because very few people really care about the driver safety. We all are very much we want to focus on the trucks, we want to focus on the technology. But what about the ground people? What about the Sarthis? As we all know, Mahabharat, the Krishna himself was a Sarthi, and the Mahabharat war was won because of Sri Krishna ji. So if there is a right Sarthi, you can win the world war also, and you can, whatever our PM says that, India has to be $1 trillion economy, that will be possible only if we have a right Sarthis. So somewhere the most important part, Sarthis ka development should be planned. There should be courses, there should be trained. Every truck I buy, my drivers, OEM should do something like, compulsory send your drivers to us, we'll train them. See, because when we shifted from BS4 to BS6, drivers, BS4 trucks, minor problems, drivers used to fix them on themselves. Now BS6, they're not even aware. So a lot of challenges on road are there, and somewhere I think we are just bypassing the safety. And now let's see the passenger vehicles. We have ADAS, we have so many features, but why not in trucks? There are no airbags in the trucks. When I say Sarthi, this driver is actually running the economy, and there is no safety for him. And still, let's go to the government part, again on the e-way bill. So driver compulsory, once the e-way bill is generated, he has to compulsory complete 200 kilometers, doesn't matter the timing. Now what customer does is, he will generate e-way bill at noon, 12 o'clock. Now material will come at my hub at night 9 o'clock. Now where there is a rest time, my driver compulsory has to drive or complete 200 kilometers. Now again when he wants to go to Bombay, again there are traffic rule timings. So somewhere drivers are forced. So a lot of compliances, I think government has not studied properly, and a lot of challenges are still there in the industry. Those should be addressed nicely, and there has to be a team of OEM, government, also the transporters, where the common body decides what should happen on the ground. Because what is happening from the government side, they are implementing it, and from the OEM side, they have some different perspective, and we transporters are receiving something else only. As I said about ADAS also, now I am willing to put ADAS in my truck, okay? Maybe I'll get it outsourced from somewhere. But is OEM going to accept it? Now I'll tell you a very funny part. Recently, Motor Vehicle Act 1988 was recently, GR has passed that there is no need for the attendant if you have driver assist system in your truck. Now this is of Motor Vehicle Act 1988. We took so many years just to say that our trucks don't need attendant, where we have only 600 drivers for every 1,000 truck. In layman language, we call them cleaner or the helper. वो तो हमारी industry में है ही नहीं. Since a decade, I have not seen a single attendant on a truck, but still we are being penalized for that. Government has came that driver assist system. Now government doesn't know what is the definition. We don't have a standard policy for the driver assist system. So tomorrow if I'm fitting from say XYZ company, will government approve it? There is no standard policy. So a lot of challenges from the government side is not clear, and that is why I think OEM is also not able to give us the technology, and somewhere I feel there is a big gap which has to be addressed. And also we need our so as I told you that wherever drivers are covering 1,000 kilometers, they are traveling so much. So Samruddhi Marg, someone spoke about Samruddhi Marg. How many sleeping pads or pit stops we have for truck drivers? एक भी नहीं है. So when driver is going on the Samruddhi Marg, what if there is some mishap happens or there is a tire burst? He can't park on the highway because we all know what happens on the highway. Drivers are being killed, drivers are being looted. So somewhere there are a lot of challenges which industry is facing, and that is why industry is not able to grow. Doesn't matter how much of technology is coming, if it's not coming from the government side, somewhere the gap will be there, and India won't progress that much. And again, what government wants that logistics cost should come to the single digit. That won't be possible till the time it's coming from the government side. So now ADAS should become mandatory from the government. Should tell OEMs कि ADAS mandatory कर दो in the trucking. It's compulsory. Then only we'll see a brighter future for the truckers. And again, what challenges with truckers are facing is everybody wants to be a part of a delivery. Delivery, not about the company, I'm saying about the delivery part, last minute delivery. They're getting jobs on the bikes, they're driving taxis, and so somewhere we need government support and OEM support also, where we can give a better life to the truck drivers and also the transporters. They need to think about the Sarthis, because wo log nahi hai to hum log bhi nahi hai. So somewhere we need to acknowledge these people efforts. We have to value them, else we won't see them after a decade.
Thank you, Chirag. Very quickly, Mithun sir, if I can just build on that part which Chirag mentioned about ADAS and all of these other technologies being there. We talked a lot about trailer braking systems and the electronic braking systems. Even if it's, let's say, mandated, or before it gets mandated, do you think there's a potential for voluntary adoption of that? Will it fit into the TCO, or is that something which is far away for the next 5 years, and regulatory intervention is something which will be needed?
No, I feel maybe especially like India market, where it's a cost sensitive market, and especially trailer where it's kind of unorganized, where you have heavy competition, it will be a challenge by just for projecting the TCO. So I feel the initial phase should be with the compliance. So once they applicate it, and once they came to know or embrace the benefits of that safety systems, I feel then it will be in a position to further penetrate beyond the level.
Understood. So thank you for that. With that, if let's say I'm talking about the government part of it, you are saying that that's something which will take time, but yeah. So while that might take time, from a forward-looking perspective, if I look at the telematics part of it, Supreet ji, you have some solutions which offer, that tracking situation. Now, when I look at trailers as an asset, trailer when decoupled from the tractor essentially becomes a dark asset, right? But can we convince the market to, look at it more from a angle of safety as well as compliance, when we look at telematics as a solution for trailer system specifically?
Here the telematics plays a major role. So when you think on the telematics, the first point comes on the prime mover or the chassis. They never think on the trailer's part. What has happened in the dark mode, as you said, here the trailer will carry the cargo, which generates the revenue. But the telematics is park aside for the trailers. So going forward, I would feel that this telematics will become a mandatory for in the next generations also. Here telematics will be very useful where the shifting of the trailers and the prime movers are going on. So here they can calculate how is the uptime and the downtime and what is the maintenance, and maintenance can be done before the operations, before the breakdowns, without the operations disturbance. So that plays a major role in the telematics also. So going forward, there is a big shift will be happening on the telematics that will be mandatory for deploying for all the trailers.
Understood. So I'll just take maybe 5 minutes more and then close it out. So with that being,
in the interest of time, can we just maybe do a question and
yeah,
sorry.
Okay. Just maybe last thoughts on this from maybe Suresh sir you and Vikas sir you. When this comes into the implementation part, how do you see that working in tandem with the profitability aspect as well? The telematics part in the connected vehicle ecosystem, will that contribute to the profitability aspect as well, in addition to the safety?
For sure. Comparing to a situation below 5-6 years back to a situation that what we are driving right now. So there is adoption of telematics, we can say ABS, safety regulations also. This is happening in real-time world also. And this also contributes to it. When we were put this ABS system in our trailers now, we can get the real-time monitoring of our assets. Where are these assets? What is the load that is we are getting on this particular axles? And we just get a future-ready product with this. So comparing to a long scenario, right now in what pace we are growing from here is quite commendable. And very soon we will see the adoption that was air suspensions. Earlier it was around 3-4%. Right now what we are having is around 20-25% is the adoption current now. So it will eventually grow from here. We have done a lot of things in the past also, and good things to come in technology.
Thank you. Thank you, Vikasji. So, okay, I think we've covered a fair ground on this in terms of the messaging. If we can just open it up to the audience for Q&A now for the panelists. Good.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kunal Sharma from Tiliv International LLP. I consider myself an optimistic critic of the OEMs of India. So my question, and there's a point that Chirag also mentioned, and I want to touch upon that because I was listening to panelists in the other room. People were just talking about costs only going up. And, I have also been on that side of the chairs. So we focus a lot on safety, total cost of ownership, productivity, solving the safety and productivity equations. The gap I see between the cost associated with technology and the usability. We spoke about training, the fleet are not recognizing the efficiency increase. There could be some of them, but the majority that I've heard in the rooms, and I've been attending conferences for 15 years with. So that efficiency, I'm not seeing the fleets appreciating or accepting, at least in the forums that I am attending. Where is the gap?
So somewhere I feel that industry is now recognizing the technology. Before that, technology was a cost, but now we have understood that transporter is earning out of where there is a less turnaround time and where are more trips. That is where we have realized just now. So if you see, still technologies have been, industry accepted technology since 2 years. So right now if you see, a lot of organized players have already adopted it. We have in our company also. So now we have realized, and slowly this will be passed on to the small players also. Our industry, the problem with the trucking industry is 80% are Chalak Malak, they themselves are the owner, they themselves are the drivers. And they don't have much more awareness, they don't have much more access to the technology. So somewhere this, first it goes to the organized player, then slowly it's transformed and transferred to the small players. So I think industry is already moving towards it. And see, even the small thing like GPS took at least 7 years for industry to adapt it. So slowly technology is coming in, industry is already with the open hands, we have welcomed it, and maybe in next 5 years you will see that a lot of players have been transformed into a technology running transports.
Okay. Yeah.
But air suspensions, whenever there is a burst, it is very difficult for them. We spoke about air suspensions, but whenever there is a burst, there are very few players who can actually replace that. And like just I was discussing with Harinder also that there is a technology, but that is not penetrated to the bottom level. Also in containers, one more question. Twisted locks are still in 1960s for containers. When are they going to be upgraded? When is the technology expected in it?
I would like to take this question. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Like, you have a technology. The adaptation is the biggest challenge for India, right? And it has to go in a right way on the education level or the knowledge level, how you take it. Air suspension is nothing new for India, right? For the global, it is a 50 to 60 years old technology, right? And how we adopt it, that's what the mess which is creating in the ground level today. Because most of the people might not be knowing how to use it. But actually, in our community language, what we call it as a pate, right? जब पाटा टूटता है तो हमें एक एक करके रिप्लेस करना पड़ता है, उसके लिए खलासी को बुलाना पड़ता है, then he replace it, right? But this is one very easily you can, with the 2 bolts you can able to replace it. First of all, why the need is coming to burst or replacing this one? Actually, what is happening is the government has come up with a what do you call advantage that if you go with a pneumatic suspension, of course the infrastructure will be protected. You can carry the more load because vibration will come less. Unfortunately, in India, most of the trailers are running to lift the axle. It is never touching to the ground even. So that is the biggest problem what we are facing it today. When you lift the 1 axle out of 3 axles, the load is getting transferred to these 2 axles because that velo cannot able to sustain with that. This is the practical issue what we are facing it. Who are operating very efficiently, they are getting the advantage of this, right? They will definitely get it. Like beside me, Green Mobility is sitting here. They have 1,000 vehicles which are running. In the mining segment, in a mining they are operating with a pneumatic suspension. So there are advantages, but I think implementation is a challenge where we are struggling on to how to navigate this one. Coming to the locking system, technologies are available. I think somebody can also add it from the bodybuilder side, I think, on when we do it on that, right? So like, there are digital locks available, but again, the affordability. Twist locks?
Yes.
Achha, twist lock, I think, because I think you can add it to this one, exactly the twist lock point.
Now, certain twist locks are also available in market. We are imported some of them. In India, there are limited manufacturers of that, but it can be done in any container. If you wish, we can have a look on that. We can forward you presentation over there.
Just, I will like to add on to this. See, technology is already available and they are well proven, as sir told and that sir also explained. Air suspension is pretty new to India. That's why in few areas we are feeling that it is very laborsome and difficult to change the air spring. But believe me, everyone here will agree that instead of mechanical suspension leaves or pata, what we call, replacing that, air suspension is much easier and consumes less time.
So I would add to it that India will always struggle with the cost and the technology. So somewhere the balance, the gap which is missing is cost and the technology. So somewhere if that is balanced,
Can we take the good thing is to celebrate that we are growing, and this is very good. From last what we have done in the past 5-6 years to till date is recommendable, and everybody is here to celebrate that.
Okay. Guys, can we please take this offline now? Sorry, in the interest of time. While I really appreciate the enthusiastic participation from the delegate group and the speakers, thank you so much. If you guys can maybe do a picture.
Yeah. Thank you everyone.